Hello boys, welcome back to another session of video tutorials, and this session is meant for class 11th biology students, and this is meant for 12th October 2020. We are into the revision mode and we were discussing about biological classification chapter 2, and in general we discussed the broad characteristics of each division in that chapter. In this chapter, we are going to reflect upon the in general as well as specific characteristics of plant kingdom. Though we are not supposed to use the word kingdom, we are supposed to use the division plantae, more appropriate one. So what are the general characteristics of division plantae? Is eukaryotic. Karyon means nucleus. Eu means very clear. It's a Latin word. Eukaryotic means organisms having cells. Inside the cell, very clear-cut nucleus is seen. And nuclear material like DNA, RNA will be inside the nucleus. This is eukaryotic. Multicellular, tissue level. Okay, many cells. And chlorophyll containing, having plants having chlorophyll, green pigment, and of course being plants, cell wall as a criteria, cellulose. So these are grouped under I can say division plantae. It is popularly known as plant kingdom. So phylogenetic system of classification based on what is this phylogeny? Evolutionary relationship. How far the plants have evolved in comparison with the past as well as the present. So it is evolutionary relationship presently used for classifying plants. So we are going to discuss about what are the evolutionary characters that are present in a particular group, and based on that we classify the plants. And second, numerical taxonomy, numerical numbers. Taxonomy, study of plants classification. Taxonomy is used, taxonomy used, it is by assigning code for each character and analyzing the features. Like remember, we use the word keys, lead, like that. So we are going to use here taxonomical hierarchy we discussed. So that comes into the picture. And then third category is cyto. Cyto means cell. Taxonomy, classification. Cytotaxonomy is based on cytological, means cell related, like chromosome number, structure and behavior. And the fourth one, chemotaxonomy. Chemo, chemicals. What are the chemicals present in the inside the cell or tissue? Based on that we classify the plants. So chemical constants of plants to resolve the confusion. So we are going to use these four. And plant kingdom broadly can be classified into two groups. Cryptogamy, plants without seeds, these are seedless plants, and phanerogamy, plants with seeds. So seedless plants and plants with seeds. Under cryptogamy, we can classify the plants into three categories. Thallophyta. Thallo means thallus. Undivided mass plant body is called thallus. You cannot say which is root, which is stem, which is leaf, etc. Everything is in the form of one heavy mass, thallus. So undivided plant body is called thallus. Phyton, Latin word, plant. So thallophyta. Bryophyta. These are, remember we said, bryos means dual nature. Phyton, plant. Plant having ability to survive on land as well as under the water. So we say bryophyta, they are amphibians of the plant kingdom, we say. This is the reason. And pteridophyta, third group. And gymnosperm, of course pteridophyta having the vascular bundles, xylem phloem presence. And gymnosperms, gymnos means naked, sperm means seed, plants bearing naked seeds, gymnosperms. And angiosperms, of course, flowering plants, plants having flowers. So algae, these include the simplest plants which possess undifferentiated thallus-like forms. Reproductive organs single-celled called gametangia. It includes only algae. So first one under Thallophyta we are going to talk about algae. Characteristics of algae. Plant body is thallus, undifferentiated plant body, which may be unicellular, colonial means colonies, filamentous, long ribbon-like structures will be there, body, filamentous, or parenchymatous tissue will be present. Usually aquatic, they are water-living plants, but few are also found in moist terrestrial habitats like tree trunks, wet rocks, moist soil, etc. So you must have seen whenever you have visited any well or a lake, on the surrounding walls there will be green patches. So those green patches are algae. Similarly, you must have seen whenever it rains on the ground, you can see within 2-3 days of having rains, green colors will come. These are all algae most of the time. And on the walls, even if in your own home, if there is any seepage of the walls, you can see the green patches appearing on the walls. These are all algae. Vascular tissues and mechanical tissues are absent. No xylem phloem. That's why we are not putting them under evolved plants. Reproduction is vegetative. By what means? By fragmentation, means fragments, breaking the body into small pieces, fragments, and each piece will grow again into new individual. So fragmentation. Asexual, so asexual, not involving any spermatangia or gametangia. Asexual by spore formation, particularly zoospores, means spores that can move, will help the algae to grow. And sexual reproduction, of course very rare. It is by fusion of two gametes which may be isogamous, like in Spirogyra. Iso means similar. Both male gamete and female gamete will look similar, so isogamous. Anisogamous, dissimilar, like Chlamydomonas. And oogamous will be Oogonium, that's valvax. Life cycle is in various forms: haplontic, diplontic, and diplohaplantic. What do you mean by haplontic? Haploid. The word haploid means one set of chromosomes, like N we say. N number of chromosomes only will be present throughout the life cycle. Diplantic, di means 2N, diplantic. And diplohaplantic, the whole life cycle, sometimes it will be N followed by 2N, and 2N gets reduced and formed by N. Then we say the life cycle is diplohaplantic. So algae is divided into 3 groups. What are those? Based on the presence of the pigments. Is it green colored pigments like chlorophyll? Then we say chlorophyceae. If it is a brown colored one, when we say phycophyceae. And red algae, rhodophyceae. So based on the colors, I can expand this. You can see here chlorophyceae, phycophyceae, and rhodophyceae. So green algae, brown algae, and red algae. So how do you differentiate them? Green algae, mostly freshwater and subaerial, mostly marine. Marine means sea. And red algae also marine. Of course, you remember your geography teacher telling Red Sea, remember? So mostly marine. Green algae, unicellular organisms abundant. Unicellular species are absent. Unicellular species very few. Chlorophyll A and B is there, that's why green algae. Chlorophyll A and C type is there in brown, and chlorophyll A and D type, look at this, chlorophyll D is present in red. Reserve food is starch, reserve food is laminarin, and reserve food is fluoridin starch. And cell wall in green algae is made up of a chemical called cellulose. Cell wall contains cellulose along with algin, and cell wall contains cellulose and polysulfate esters. So chemical nature is different, that's why we say chemotaxonomy. And Fucoxanthin is absent, fucoxanthin is present, and phycoerythrin is present. Phycoerythrin, that's why it is giving red color. Juice pores present, juice of course in all this juice pores, but whereas in red algae juice pores absent. And examples we are giving is in under green algae Chlamydomonas, Eleutheryx, Spirogyra. Under brown Focus, Sargassum and Ectocarpus. Under red algae what I want is this Polysiphonia, remember this Polysiphonia, and Giladium, at Red Sea, Porphyra. So these are the examples. And what is the economic impact? What is the use of algae for us? A number of brown algae, just as I said, Laminaria and Sargassum, are used as food in some countries. So it is used as food, just like they dry it and powder it and mix it with milk and drink, just like we drink Horlicks, Boost, Bournvita, like that. And there is Fucus and Laminaria are rich source of iodine, so it is better to mix this in salt and have, so that we not no goiter. Laminaria and Ascophyllum have antibiotic properties. Look at this, God's creation, so nicely, natural antibiotics. And alginic acid is obtained from Fucus and Sargassum, which is used in emulsions, in paintings. And of course there is great many algae sources which are highly proteinaceous, so those can be used for children as a nutrient material. And going ahead, the next one, bryophytes. These are non-vascular mosses and liverworts. So moss and liverworts that grow in moist shady region. They are called amphibians. Just now I said many times in all your, not only CBSE, in all your competitive exams, national level, this question will be asked. So remember, amphibians of plant kingdom, bryophytes. These plants live on soil but dependent on water for sexual reproduction. Without water, there is no sexual reproduction in bryophytes. That's why they are amphibians. What are the characteristics? Live in a damp and shady habitats, means moisture should be there. Fun to grow during rainy season like now, on damp soil, rocks, walls. The dominant phase or plant body is free-living gametophyte, phyton, the plant body, gametes presence. Roots are absent but contain rhizoids, so root-like structures. Vegetative reproduction is by fragmentation, tubers, gemmae, buds, etc. Sex organs are multicellular and jocketed. They are present in the jocket form. The male sex organ is called antheridium. They produce biflagellate antherozoids, something like sperms in future. The female sex organ is called archegonium, and it is a flask-shaped structure and have single egg. Sporophyte is dependent on gametophyte for nourishment, so that is important. So gametophyte is dominant. So in bryophytes we are going to talk about liverworts, Hepaticopsida. The plant body of a liverwort is thallus. Example, Marcantia. The thallus is dorsoventral and closely oppressed to the substrate. Asexual reproduction in liverworts takes place by fragmentation or by the formation of specialized structure called gemmae. These are important. What are gemmae? Asexual reproductive parts. Gemmae are green, multicellular, asexual buds which develop into small receptacles called gemmacups. The gemmae becomes detached from the parent body and germinate to form new individuals. So see, this is the significance of gemmacups. During sexual reproduction, male and female sex organs are produced either on the same or on different thalli. The sporophyte is differentiated into foot, seta, and capsule. Spores produced within the capsule germinate to form free-living gametophyte. Okay. And in our next class, we will discuss about the mosses. Meanwhile, keep a notebook as a side, keep writing these revision notes. It will be of great help to you during exams time for quick review. Until then, take